You want to probably, as soon as you hit that on, you're probably going to grab your laptop, put it
Yes,
on your
sir.
lap. Okay.
Yes, sir. Can you just state your name?
Brian Hamlet.
Yes, sir. And today's date is February 21st, 2017. And can you provide a background of what you do?
So I'm a full-time martial art instructor. And by full-time, I mean that this is what I do, 33 classes a week. Some martial art instructors, they have another career and they do this part-time, but I do this full-time. I've been in martial arts 39 years and I've
Yes, sir.
had my own place now. This is my 30th year. But that's what we do, teach martial arts full-time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And how would you define leadership, sir?
Okay, well, I thought about that question.
Yes, sir.
And, to me, leadership is really the ability to guide others down a path that helps them complete a goal that they've put time and thinking about that's a worthwhile goal. So,
Yes, sir.
and you're going to help them stay on that path, really doing two things. One, education, so they have the skills to accomplish that goal, and through motivation. So
Yes, sir.
keeping them motivated, keeping them educated so they can get to the goal that they set out to accomplish. So to me, I think that would be the biggest for leadership.
Yes, sir. And what are 3 to 4 characteristics of a leader?
Characteristics of a leader? I would say one of them is keeping an eye on the big picture. There's a lot of tasks that people have to do. It's kind of like keeping your eye on the whole forest, not just the trees. And sometimes people are so busy looking at the individual task that they lose sight of the big picture. So as a leader, you have to kind of look at the big picture and see if everybody is on the same path. Are we all going the same direction?
Yes, sir.
Of course, keep people motivated. As well, you have to be an example. You have to show how to act, how to live accordingly how you're thinking they should. Show that, be a living example. So as a leader, you're giving a good example, giving that motivation, see the big picture, help them understand that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What is a typical day like for you?
Typical day. I wake up at 6 a.m. First thing I do, I look at my calendar, I plan out the day. I get everything planned out so I know what's going on. Look at things I gotta do, what's still left to be done, boom. Then I get my daughter up and going. If there's some time after I plan out my day, I do a little office work at home. I have a home office. Then I get my daughter to school, come back, and I really do some office work. That takes a couple hours. Then I have a class at noontime. Quick lunch, some training on my own, running some errands. Then depending on the day, I have either 5 or 6 more classes to teach. After that, close up, get home. I have a late dinner, usually about 10:30. Then I'll work on anything I didn't get to finish during the day, or maybe I'll do some reading. Usually get to bed somewhere between 12 and 12:30. Next day, repeat.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you go who to go to for advice? And who is your mentor?
If we're talking about what I do here in terms of Taekwondo, I'm very fortunate that my instructor is not only still alive, he's still very active. He's a 9th degree black belt. I started with him 39 years ago, and he's who I go to when it pertains to this. But just things in general, I'm very big in research, a lot of reading, listen to the experts in a particular field, but in terms of what I'm doing here, it's my own instructor, it still is, all these years.
Yes, sir. What do you enjoy most about your career?
I think there's a lot of things, but per the question, what do I enjoy most? It's watching kids who happen to come in. They're that kid that's really introverted, very shy, no spirit, energy, afraid of their own shadow. They stick with it, they persevere. A year later, you see them, they're speaking up. Maybe they couldn't do a push-up when they started. Now they have a little pride, they're out there doing the push-ups. And you get to see them grow and develop and blossom. That's probably what I like the most right there.
Yes, sir. What are some challenges you face in your career?
Well, I teach kids and adults, so I have to divide this up differently. In the world of children, teaching kids classes, some parents, not all parents, we have some very supportive parents, but there's always some parents, and they can be very challenging because they want us to build confidence and independence within their child, but they might be a little too enabling, smothering, coddling, so we've got to come to understand it. In adults, probably the biggest challenge is getting all adults to understand that consistency is key. One thing we're working on here is being disciplined, self-discipline, and having that consistency. They all have goals. I want to do this, I want to get that, self-defense, be more in shape, lose weight, reduce stress, but you got to come. You got to be disciplined. And so I think that's a little challenging, helping them understand, look, if you want it to work, you got to come and do the time, consistency.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you not giving up on me and helping me with the consistency, sir. So, what immediately comes to mind when you hear the word success?
Success to me is the completion of a goal you set out upon, a goal that you put time into, you thought about, you planned, and then you complete that goal. It's a success. Now, sometimes a larger goal is broken down into smaller goals, tasks that build up to a larger accomplishment. And each one of those is a success. But you have to understand, we're doing those to get to the end, the main thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Yes, sir.
So, and of course, a person can be a success in one area in life and not in another. So it's very broad brush when we say that person is a success. They might not be a success with their family, but they might be a success in business, or vice versa. But anyway, it depends on where their goals are.
Yes, sir.
So if they have goals, how can I have a stronger family? How can I be better at my work? How can I be more physically fit? If they look at all the different areas of life, set goals in these different areas, yes, every time they accomplish a goal in one of those areas, that's being a success.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. One thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
What advice would you give to aspiring young leaders?
Be really careful. Now, this is hard to understand at the beginning, but be really careful how and with whom you spend your time. Time goes by fast.
Yes, sir.
And some people, they're not meaning to, it's not part of their plan, but they will take your time. They will rob you of your time. You have to have your goals, and you have to understand the path you need to be on. People will take you off your path because they're your friend, and they want you to do this and that, and everything has to be within balance. But the point is, you can easily lose track and get off your path just by, hanging out with too many people or the wrong kind of person.
Yes, sir.
So, someone who wants to be a leader, they have to really watch their time. And what are they doing with their time? Some people you spend time with, they're in sync with you, and they're a good influence. And some people, not that they're bad people, that's obviously a bad influence. But some people are good people, but maybe they're not very motivated. And
yes, sir,
they kind of pull you into the good time, Charlie, all the time, avenue. And that's okay once in a while, right? But, so I guess to sum up, number one thing for aspiring leaders, watch your time, keep your eye on the big picture, and keep working in that direction.
Yes, sir. Anything else you would like to add?
In that area?
Or just...
in general?
Yes, on leadership, sir.
I just think that if you're leading, others are supposed to be observing you, learning from you. You have to be a living example. Integrity is important.
Yes, sir.
Nobody's going to want to follow a leader who doesn't have integrity. And you have to be a living example. So in this scenario, we're talking about martial arts, right?
Yes, sir.
What would it be like if I were to stand up there and talk about, you guys need to do this to get in shape, and I was grossly out of shape? Now, no one says you got to look like a Mr. Olympia, but I got to look like I have some resemblance of physical fitness.
Yes,
I
sir.
got to be able to do the techniques, you know, and I have to live a lifestyle
Yes, sir.
that's promoted by what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I would say the number one thing is remember, you're going to tell people, coach people, guide people, but really you have to be that living example of what you're talking about, what you're coaching them in. I think that's probably paramount.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it, Mr. Hamlet.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good luck to you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Here's where you're probably going to want to shut that off.
Yes, sir.